Welcome to Joy in the Breakthrough, a podcast where we'll be talking to a wide range of leaders from different generations and backgrounds, leaders who have found power in being broken open. I'm Connie Lindsay.
And I'm Anna Valencia. We are your hosts, and we believe that our challenges can lead to breakthroughs, and we want to share those insights with you.
We hope these stories will inspire you to explore the I'm possible in you.
I'm so happy today that we have a wonderful friend and someone who I really look to and is going to give us a lot of insight today, Bella Gandhi. And I'm going to read a little bit about your bio. So Bella is a dating relationship expert, founder of Smart Dating Academy, has been featured on a lot of national local media outlets, including Good Morning America, Steve Harvey, The Today Show, Kelly Clarkson, Access, ABC, NBC, Fox, and so much more. But what's great about Bella, she graduated from my alma mater, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, with a degree in finance and German. She worked at Arthur Andersen in Chicago for a year before joining her family's chemicals and manufacturing company. She divided her time between Chicago and Europe, helping to expand the business. Her family's business sold to a Fortune 500, ExxonMobil. She was asked to remain as its leader and have a global vice president role, but she decided to pivot into a different career, which we're going to hear about today. Bella, thank you so much for coming on. Before we dig in, I want to just say, you know, Connie and I, we said this is not going to be a dating show because we're talking about leaders, but we know how relationships matter. And you have inspired us with your own love story that we'd love to hear. And what Connie and I have learned and discovered is we have our own love stories that, you know, for me, I kissed a lot of frogs before I found my partner at 28. And I say partner because it really is a partner who embraced my ambition. He really has stepped in as a father and does a lot of the domestic duties. He does all the cooking and the cleaning of the kitchen and the laundry. Right now he's doing laundry at home. But it was really that partner that I found that was so important for my leadership journey because it helped launch my leadership journey. And I know, Connie, you have a little bit of a different story of how you met John.
Well, first of all, Bella, thank you so much for being here. Anna and I get big props because you are going to be here with us with conversations. And I know there are lots of people who are listening who want to hear what you have to say. So you honor us by being here today.
Thank you both so much.
Of course. So my story is, I refer to our marriage as a merger, not an acquisition. So a lot of the traditional things people think about marriage didn't apply to me. I got married at 49.
Wow.
And neither of us had been married before, and we're child-free by choice. And so the whole relationship piece, how we got there, the thing that I love about the juxtaposition in Anna's story and mine is we got to the same place, unconditional love with amazing human beings, but to free ourselves up to share that in a way that allows other people to see, as you've done so brilliantly in the work that you're doing now, the different ways to discover who that person is. So I cannot wait to jump in.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you again for having me.
So we always start with the same question about, tell us a little bit about who Bella is.
Well, as you so lovely, if that's, I can make up my new own adverb, lovely. As you talked about in my bio, I am the founder of Smart Dating Academy. So I'm a dating and relationship coach. I believe that love exists for every single person on this planet that wants it. And I believe that love for those people is a when, it's not an if. And I came into this through my own aha moment back in college where I figured out my own love story and started helping people as a hobby to do theirs. And so in 2009, I decided at the behest of everybody that knew me that I had helped to start doing this and proceduralizing how you can become love ready yourself and how you can pick partners that are really good for you. So I'm a dating and relationship expert. I am a wife of 26 years. I am a mother to a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. I am a daughter, the first daughter of immigrants who have been married for 54 years. And I'm a sister.
And so how did you know? You said you knew in college, and I've read a lot about your amazing journey here. How did you know? What happened inside? A lot we talk about on our Joy in the Breakthrough podcast. What did it feel like for you to be able to break open to say, this is really what I want to do, help people find love?
And it's funny because I don't even know that I knew that then. I just knew that I had these instincts. Like I could see you and I'd be like, Connie, I I got a guy for you, okay? And if you go out on a date with him, I think this is it, as I call it, the lid to your pot. And so that happened once. The very first time was with my college roommate. It took them 7 years to agree to go out on a first date. But once they did, they were engaged 2 years later, and they've been married for 26 years to this day. And then I had another one and another one while I was working in mergers and acquisitions. I love that you
Very
said
different.
you are, right, you are a merger, not an acquisition. Right, and so it took me a windy path to get here, but you know, I couldn't be happier to be doing this work.
And tell me when you decided to make that pivot from the finance world and also being a daughter of immigrants. I know there's like a path for you, and they think it's my dad wanted me to be a lawyer, and he thought lawyer was a success. And news for all of you, I'm not a lawyer. But tell me.
Me neither.
I'm a politician instead. I don't know if he likes it or not, but it doesn't matter.
It.
But tell us, like, how did you find that bravery and courageous to tell your parents, I'm not going to do this, that you wanted me to be in finance and study German and be in business. I'm going to pivot and to do something like being an entrepreneur that might have been, scary for them. How did you find your courage to take that pivot?
Well, it's interesting, and I'll take you back to the first, probably one of the biggest breakthroughs I would credit. And, in retrospect, you don't know, every moment could be one of those moments, right, in our lives. And mine was standing outside debating with my dad, who was watching me work at Arthur Andersen, living at home for a year to save money. And he's looking at me going, "You're bored, girl. You're home every day at 6 o'clock. You leave on the train, you lather, rinse, repeat." So he said, "I've paid for, wait for it, this useless degree in German. So why don't you come and help me build our business in Europe?" And I said to him, "Dad, I took one class in chemistry in high school." So he's a chemical engineer. We made a competitive product to Teflon for pots and pans. And I'm looking at him going, "What am I going to do for you? Why do you want me to do this? I speak German, but I got to be in chemistry." And he looked at me. He is 5'3". He is small. He's the same height as me, but he takes up space, if you know what I mean. And
my grandmother would call that cover all the ground you stand on.
Absolutely, right. Big shadow. And he looked at me. And I said, "What am I going to do?" And he said, "Don't ever ask me that question again. You were only limited to your own ambition." And he spun around and he walked off our deck. And I was like, what does that mean? I was 23. I'm like, limited to your own ambition. I don't know, but it sounds kind of cool. And I am kind of bored. So I went to Andy, who my boyfriend at the time. I talked to my boss at Arthur Andersen, who said, go, jump. This is an opportunity you'll never get again. And I thought, okay. And my dad said, if you don't like it, you can always leave. No hard feelings, but give it a try. Best decision ever. I learned everything I know about business, entrepreneurship, so much of how to be a good human and a good leader at my family's company at CCC, because my dad takes no prisoners. He's like, "Okay, here you are, you're 23, go to Japan for a month, here's a one-way ticket, I will tell you when you come home."
Wow.
Right, and so best breeding ground ever. So to come back to that, to your question about entrepreneurship and how I could tell my parents, "Hey, guess what? Who come from the land of arranged marriages, okay?" Let's just say my parents met on a Sunday. They were engaged on Thursday. 4 days later, married 3 days later, okay? How do you tell your parents, after you have worked together, sold a company to a Fortune 500 company, "Hey, you guys, guess what? I'm going to leave there. They want to promote me, move me to Nashville to run a bigger facility, but I'm going to say peace out because I think I'm supposed to do something different."
Right.
And it took me 3 years of really, really hard soul searching. I left this job not knowing what I wanted to do, and I was so afraid of failure. I was so afraid of what my family would think if it didn't work. I had no business being a dating expert or a relationship expert. So those were huge, huge things to walk through. So when I finally got to the point where I said to my parents, "I want to do this," they were like, go do it.
Excellent.
You'll do
Beautiful.
So that's the beauty of that, is that encouraging people around you to do that. But how does one become a dating expert? Are there courses that you take? How does one do that?
So listen, truth be told, from the age of 17 on, I was that kid. You put all these kids into a bookstore. A lot of them will be in mysteries and thrillers and cookbooks. I was the one in the self-help section. I always was a voracious student of the mind and our own personal skills. How do we develop ourselves to become better? So I read so much about dating and relationships even when I was in college, because I was a serial monogamist, right? And helped my mom really through some difficult times in their own marriage. So I was always studying this. So by the time I realized what I was really good at, I was amazing at relationships. I had helped so many of my friends. They called me the dating oracle. Every wedding I stood up in, they're like, and if it wasn't for her advice, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Wow. So I put all these points together, and I said to myself, when I want to reinvent, what would I do for free every single day, right? Because I just love it. And that's a really long list of things. I would drink coffee every day, right? I would water my flowers. But when I said, what am I really good at out of these things, that list got really small. And so I knew that I had a really strong skill base in dating and relationships. I did get coaching certified after that, just because, as women, we feel like we've got to have all these accolades and letters, right? Just in order to measure up. And so I did that, and that's how I made the pivot.
Well, I wanted to talk about one of the things I love that you have even done a TEDx talk about that I saw, your elevator people. And how do you find them in the world? Not just beyond, romantic relationships, but friendships, business partners, making the decision. So I'd love for you to share with our listeners about the elevator people, because you are an elevator person in my life. You are someone that lifts me up when I'm feeling low. Our teas are epic. So I'd love for you to share that to our listeners.
I'm Darius Hillman. Joining me on the next edition of In the Arena, the Chief Mission Officer for Goodwill Industries of Metro Chicago, Clayton Pryor.
You work hard, work with your head down, and people will notice. That's not always true. A lot of times it's half of what you're doing, half of who knows what you're doing.
Tuesday at 7 p.m. on CAN TV 19 and streaming on cantv.org and the new CAN TV Plus app.
So elevator people is just a term that was literally invented over a table one day when I was with a client. And it comes from a really transformational shifting exercise that we do with them about how they should find their romantic partners. So an elevator person, I tell them, and this is what I would say to you, to every one of us, think about the people in your life that make you one thing. They make you happy. They elevate you. And I ask my clients, and I ask you, think about who those people are and what do they give to you in those relationships. For example, what it's not is my friend Anna, because she's super successful, she's a politician, she's got great people skills, she always looks chic. That's great about Anna, but that's not, Bella, what she gives to you in your relationship that makes you happy. And so we went through, and I've gone through this list with thousands of people after asking them question number one, who's your dream guy or your dream woman? They're like, oh, he should be tall, he should have 50 stamps in his passport, he should make 6 figures. And then we go through that, we're like, yay. And then we talk about elevator people. And the aha is, you've been working from the wrong list. In order to have a successful partnership, right? A successful merger of a relationship, you have to start looking for the things that you need to be happy in a relationship. And so that's the concept of elevator people. And that was the subject of the TED Talk, which was called The Secret to Finding Lasting Love. It's, you guys, look at the people. The answers are all there. They're in front of you. Look at these people that elevate you. Write down who they are. Write down why. Look for the theme. Take out the highlighter. And oh my gosh, wow, for most people, spoiler alert, people that are encouraging, they are supportive, they see the best in you, they love you unconditionally, they are affirmative, they are always there for you, no matter what. That is the essence of an elevator person. I would have never thought, you guys, and I don't talk about this often, I have done this exercise with so many people, that there is a definition that has emerged of an elevator person.
We have the data now.
We have the data.
Yep. That's finance.
That'll be
people.
10x talk number 2, right?
Exactly.
So, but really, at the end of the day, it's all within us already. How do you find more elevator people in your life? Look for the ones you have already. Look at what those qualities are. Date those people. Friend those people. Vet the people in your life in that way. When you interview for jobs, look at the culture. When you are interviewing candidates to work for you, is this an elevator person? Do they have the capacity to do that? Right? And if you need more data, have 6 interviews with them.
Right.
This is why I tell my clients, you're going to date slowly.
Right.
No getting exclusive for 15 to 20 dates. Why? Because we are kicking the tires to see if this is an elevator person.
And I think in a society where everything I'll lovingly refer to it as instant grits, right? Water, pop it in the microwave.
Amen.
This 15 to 20 dates, it requires us to get to know each other.
Yes.
And you're right, that elevator person or those qualities and characteristics, we are not accustomed to that patient waiting, that anticipation of what that will be. And I think that's poignant. I loved, there were 2 things that I got from the TED Talk that both made me laugh when you talk about the ideal person. Well, I want somebody who's 6'2". Well, only 12% of the population, isn't that you inform us, are 6'2". So what are you doing there? And the whole notion of let's walk through that. In terms of your clients and the people that you work with, what percentage are men and what percentage are women?
You know, it changes at any given time. I would say we run 60% women, 40% men. No slight on you guys, but women tend to talk about the things that they're doing. Oh, I have a dating coach. I have a relationship coach. So there's more referrals because women, we chat about the good things that are happening in our life. And women tend to celebrate if they find something good. Elevator friends will tell their friends about what they're doing, right? And so guys don't always have the connections and the networks that women do, and they're not, and they crave it just as much as we do. But women, we're really good at sharing these things. So, gentlemen, the right lid is out there for your pot. Don't be discouraged.
Well, I want to shift also to something you said. I love the idea about 6 interviews with someone, but that is so important when you're building your workplace culture and your team. But I have another question to spin. So let's say a friendship is ending or a relationship. What are the red flags we should look for? Because you also talk about butterflies are not always good instincts, right? And I think people associated with butterflies being good, oh, that means it's the right person, the right fit. But can you talk a little bit about those red flags we should be aware of when we're seeking out our elevator people and whether they're right fit for us?
A great question. What I would tell you is, yes, again, if you live in the romance aisles of bookstores or you're watching Hollywood or Bollywood, it's all about, oh my gosh, I have butterflies. I'm so excited. This is the right person for me. What that is it's anxiety. It's fear. It's your gut telling you something is not right. And butterflies don't just happen in the dating world. I have met women socially where I feel the flutter of the butterflies. I was like, that is not your person. Move on. Be kind, be cordial, move on, right? Because that person is activating your anxiety for some reason. You are sensing there are red flags in those people. So, and that happens. I was interviewing candidates for a new job. The response from a candidate put a pit. I was like, these are red flags. Right? A lot of people, my hirer said, well, I think we can address this. And I said, people show us who they are. It is up to us to believe them. This candidate has showed us her red flags. Game over.
And I think we get taught over time to push that feeling away.
Yes.
Yes.
And not to listen to ourselves,
Exactly.
not to listen to those instincts. We're taught to just move along and keep going.
And I'll tell you what, the first interview with this girl was good. I was excited. She said all the right things. There were no butterflies. But the email response that came 3 days later, I was like, oh, well, bless her heart. There are 5 red flags in that. Exactly. And I had to go back to my recruiter saying, I think these are things we can address. I'm like, no, we can't. That's character.
Yeah.
You cannot teach character.
No.
Exactly. And I think what's so important that we're talking about, certainly romantic relationships, but all relationships, job interviews, even ourselves as we engage with others in the work environment, listening to those instincts.
And our friendships too. I mean, Michelle Obama, we talked about this.
Yeah, we
Michelle
did.
Obama talked about on the Netflix with Oprah. You know, Connie's my Oprah, but
Clearly.
the
Clearly,
Oprah.
our Oprah.
Right? Everything Connie says I want to write down, even during the podcast. But she talks about this in her interview about when she and President Obama went to the White House, some friends didn't make it because they didn't have the oxygen to make that next trek. And I think it's really hard as, you know, I've gone into my leadership journey, you start to kind of edit people. You know, what are acquaintances and what are real true friends and who are your elevator people. And I've noticed I have no more time or energy for gossip or really talking about anything that is not really meaningful or purposeful. And so being able to really understand and being okay with saying to some people, I love you from afar and I still love and care for you. But as I have less energy and time because I'm a mom now and my career and everything else. So I think that's really important for all of us to recognize.
Yeah.
And then you said to be kind, which I
Yeah.
think is a great reminder.
Relationships can have a shelf life.
For sure.
And I think as humans, sometimes we don't understand that. And I think to give yourself the permission to what I call bless and release somebody.
Yes.
Oh.
Bless and release, hashtag.
Yes.
And it's okay. You wish them all that is good in the world, but you're going to release them from your first inner circle. Or maybe they go to the second chair or the third chair or wherever it is. It's okay. And sometimes people ask me, do I need to have that conversation? No. You don't need to have that conversation. You know why? We are the only people that can give ourselves closure. Sometimes we feel like I need to have that conversation with her. No, you really don't. You need to have it with yourself. You look in the mirror and you tell yourself, and we're now done. Right. And she's going to move to this place in my life. And it's okay. Why put bad energy into the world?
And we'll both be fine.
And we'll both be okay because most likely she feels it too.
Exactly.
Do you see what's happening right now as I'm being mentored and coached right now? This is what it looks like to our listeners and audience. I'm always loving these times. One of the things I love about you, Bella, is your honesty and your kindness. And you had talked about with this releasing, you started doing this meditation. The meditation you've been sharing, and you shared with me, I was driving and I had to go home and write it down. And I think you did a pod about this too, but will you share it with our listeners?
Yeah, you know, it's really hard, and I'll share it with you. You know, I have a daughter who's a freshman in college who's amazing, but you worry as a mom, right? And you have them on Life 360 and you can see, why are you home at 3 a.m.? Why are you home at 4 a.m.?
wow.
And you're like, maybe I should turn that up.
I'm not ready for those days.
No, nobody's ready for those days. And sometimes you don't hear from them as much as you want, and it can trigger your own anxiety.
For sure.
And I'm sure we all have these situations in life, and this just happened to be mine. And I found the Buddhist kindness, compassion meditation. And when I would start to get irked, why didn't she text me back? I would say it's 4 sentences. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And may you live with ease. And when I would put myself in this state and I would picture her, all of my anxieties melted away. And I became a better mom. Whenever I have those moments, it is send that meditation out to that person in that moment. And the person it helps the most is ourselves, because it lowers your own cortisol, your own fight or flight, all of those hormones that frankly make us sick.
Yes.
Physically, emotionally, right? It's like, what is the definition of anger? It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? And when we don't manage ourselves, right? It's like self-regulation. And that kindness, compassion, meditation, do it. Everybody, think about that person, and don't tell me you don't have that person. We all have those people that we're going to be, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you live at ease. And you're going to have to say it 100 times a day. And that's okay, because it will help you every ding dang time you do
And
it.
that's relationships.
That's
It doesn't have to be a
relationships.
romantic relationship. It could be
Anybody.
in any
Friendship.
relationship.
Or someone you need to
Right.
offer
Right.
forgiveness to.
That's it.
Maybe.
Exactly.
And sometimes ourselves.
Yes.
Ourselves. Absolutely. And that's such a good point, is we don't have that compassion for ourselves. It's like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that to her. She's going to hate me. It's like, you know what? Would you tell your best friend that? No, be compassionate to yourself. And then what might you do if you think you've hurt somebody? Pick up the phone and say, you know what? I said something that might have been a paper cut to you, and I really want to tell you I'm sorry for that. And most likely they're like, girl, what are you talking about?
We are running out of time, but I want to go to our tips and technique segment. We give a tip and technique every time. You've dropped a lot, so I'm just going to leave this one here. I'm into a period of my life where it's no pressure friends. So I don't really like other kids' birthday parties besides my own. So if you are no pressure friend, you won't guilt me or shame me for not coming. So no pressure friends is where I'm at right now. Connie?
I love it. I've experienced your no pressure friendship, and I love it.
Yes.
Me too.
My tip is, how do you know when it's time to go? And how do you leave with what you talked about, the kindness, the respect, and the love?
I love that. And we'll end our segment with our say less. We love Connie. She teaches us to say more by saying less. What do you got for us today, Connie?
Today I have no as a complete sentence. In our relationships, sometimes we really want to please other people and feel good about who we are, and we say yes to too many things, which can lead to guilt, judgment, all of the things that aren't healthy for us. So we can say no with love, with being authentic, and it's a complete sentence.
I need to take that tip to heart myself. Bella, it's been lovely to have you and be on this episode with us, and obviously Connie and the joy that you all bring. So we hope that you will join us next time for Joy in the Breakthrough. Thank you for joining us today.